What is up, guys? John Simmons here with Crown Entertainment out of Central Arkansas. I hope each and every one of you are off to a fun, productive, and most importantly, profitable summer of 2017. I know I've been busy. I hope you guys have been as well. When John Young contacted me about doing one of these summer mini sessions, the one thing that popped into my mind is 5 tips or 5 things you need to know before starting your business full-time. That is, quitting your full-time or part-time day job and going from a part-time weekend warrior DJ to 100% income coming from your entertainment business. Whether it be DJ, photo booth, or really any business, I think you'll profit from listening to what I have to say. I will say, by no means am I an expert. This is coming from a guy who's only been full-time for right at a year. I've been DJing almost 10 years with my company, Crown Entertainment, but in the past, 9 months, almost a year, I've decided to go full-time and take the leap of faith and just do it. And sometimes you just got to do it. So I've got 5 tips for you guys. Hopefully you'll get something out of it. Tip number 1 should probably go without saying, but I know some guys like to make a dramatic exit when they leave their current jobs, is to always leave on a good term. Because at the end of the day, entertainment is something it's a luxury. It's not necessarily a necessity. You're not out here making diapers or raising cattle or whatever. You're an entertainment business. Entertainment is pure luxury. So never say never when quitting your job. I know when I quit my daytime job, I was essentially done. I told myself I was done, but I left on good terms. I gave them a 30-day notice. If you're in a like a presidential or vice chairman or whatever position, if you're in a pretty high position at your company, a month may not be enough. Then again, if you're working retail or something like that, a 2 weeks notice is probably just fine, but be sure to leave out on a good term. You never know what can happen, and you want to be able to rely on some of those ties that you've made at your current day job should the entertainment company full-time business not work out. Doing this full-time is very tough. Being an entrepreneur, being a business owner is very, very tough. I think the percentage is 95% of all businesses fail. All small businesses fail. Your business is no different. Things happen. So be sure not to cut or sever any of those ties once you go out of your full-time job. Tip number 2, make sure you've got some working capital to get you started. Cash is king, especially when owning a business. You have to have cash to operate, to pay bills, and now not only are you paying for your business expenses, you need to pay yourself. Otherwise you can't pay your mortgage and electricity bills and whatever costs you may have associated away from your business. Whenever you quit, be sure to have, I would say, at least 6 months. A year would be the best option. 6 months to a year's worth of income put aside, because although your business is growing, things just kind of change once you go at this full time. You see expenses that you really didn't see beforehand. Make sure you have a solid plan and make sure you have some working capital in your bank. That way you don't have to worry about if you're going to be able to pay your bills for the next month. So tip number 2, have some capital, have some cash in your back pocket. That way you can worry about building your business and not worry about paying your rent. Tip number 3, is your calendar strong enough or full enough to support you going at this full time? Whenever I quit my day job, it was right in the holiday season, Thanksgiving rolling into Christmas, and my calendar for 2017 wasn't full, but I did have plenty of work coming up in the spring, and we all know what summer wedding season looks like, so I wasn't that worried about it. But if you're a guy that's not working every weekend, or working at least 3 out of the 4 weekends in a month, you might want to take a look back and see what you can't do to improve those bookings. I can assure you, you're not going to make a comfortable living only working 2 events a month. Now, if you're a guy that's going out and charging 5 to 10 grand per event, that's awesome. You can probably get away with only working 2 events a month. But me, myself, just like a lot of other DJs, you've got packages that probably range from, on the bottom realm around $900 to the more expensive realm up in the the $5,000 mark, but most of your packages fall somewhere in between $1,200 to $2,500, which is where I am. And in order to maintain a comfortable lifestyle as well as run a business, the calendar needs to be full before you quit your job. You don't want to quit and have to worry about gigs. You want to have those celebrations lined up in your calendar, booked, and you know that capital is coming in before you quit your job. Tip number 4, don't put all your chips into one basket. Now, entertainment is great. I've made a great living at it for the past almost 10 years, going part-time entertainment, full-time day job, now with full-time entertainment. I've made a great living, but one thing I want to suggest to you, as I've had to do with myself, is not to put all your chips in one basket. Just because you're making good money from the entertainment business doesn't mean that you shouldn't be paying yourself and maybe investing that money into somewhere else. Looking at a good financial investment such as Roth IRAs, or some people gamble with the stock market, or save up their money and buy rental property, whatever it may be. Just start looking at other ways to grow your portfolio. Just because you run an entertainment company doesn't mean you can't have your hand in a few other baskets, because having your hand somewhere else ultimately leads to you being more profitable. That way you can put some more money into growing your business itself or growing something else. Entertainment may not be the end-all be-all for you. You might want to move on to something else later on in your life. Having a good plan and having your hand in other things makes that transition a little bit easier, just as it did when you were transitioning from a full-time day job into your full-time entertainment business. Don't put all your chips in one basket. Be sure to spread your wings, because there's other investment opportunities out there that can probably net you some more money. Tip number 5, probably the most important tip I'm going to give you all day, is you've got to have a great support system in order to be an entrepreneur. It is probably one of the toughest things I've ever done. Now, waking up and being your own boss is probably one of the most rewarding things on the planet. It's a great feeling, without a doubt. But it's also very challenging and sometimes very frustrating. Tip number 5 is you've got to have a support system in place around you. Having that support system is ultimately one of the big things Having that support system around you is ultimately one of the big things that's going to keep you level-headed and ultimately sane in being a small business owner. They're going to shoot you straight and not give you any BS, and that's what you want in that support system. You don't want people that are just going to be yes men that tell you everything that you want to hear. You want people that are doing things and saying things out of your best interest. You may think that you're busy now having a full-time job and owning a business. If you're doing it correctly, I can assure you, you're probably going to be busier than you ever were when you had 2 careers, if you're doing it right. So having a good support system, keeping you on pace, on path, and on track is very vital in running a successful business. So just to brush up on all of the 5 tips we have covered today, number 1 is when you leave your day job, leave on a good note. You want to keep those connections in place. They may even get you some jobs in the future. Number 2, you have to have working capital. Again, cash is king. You need a good steady cash flow for any business to be successful. Number 3, you've got to make sure that your calendar is full enough to support your lifestyle. You don't want to overextend yourself and not have things on the calendar and then ultimately have to go back to work to pay your bills. Number 4, don't put all of your chips in one basket. I highly suggest looking at smart investment choices to build your portfolio. Number 5, have a great support system in place. Friends, family, and spouses are going to be the people that shoot you straight and don't give you any BS when it comes down to you and your business. Once again, my name is John Simmons, also known as djwoopig. I'm so glad that you could join me on this summer session. If I didn't cover something that you want to learn a little bit more about, I'm going to leave you a few social media links to get in contact with me. Right here, you can find me on Instagram. Right here, you can find me on YouTube, where I release new